Standing on the top now. No, nothing can move you.
Well, good day, good day. Welcome to another episode of the Bobby Brown Show on the on the go. I'm trying to be a more cool, calm, collected person when it comes to dealing with political affairs, because I get excited, I get anxious, I get passionate. I turn red. You ever seen Ric Flair do the woo in the middle of the ring? You know, and he throw his jacket on the ground and start doing leg drops and elbow drops on a jacket.
You can't do me, and I'm cutting you off right now.
That means Ric Flair done lost his mind. And sometimes I want to do that when these politicians, on purpose, push laws that the people who put them in office never told them to push. They pushing it for them to keep power. They'll lie, steal, manipulate, fool you into thinking that they're on their side. And this is for both Democratic and Republicans, but I'm talking about the Republicans today. To get you to actually believe they're going to be on your side. And once you get them in office, it's a done deal. That's why I said before you vote, you got to be willing to tell them that if you do not push these particular deals that we're doing in our community, if you don't push our issues straight from our community that we give you, then I'm not going to vote for you, dog. I'm just not going to do it. You could throw the boogeyman in my face. It ain't that simple. I'm a grown man. The boogeyman don't scare me. Because that's what they'll do. They'll throw the boogeyman in there. And the people say things like that. We're the best you got. You have nothing better. Sound like a freaking abusive spouse talking to his wife saying, girl, you ain't gonna get nothing better than me. Dude, you blackened both my eyes, fattened my lips, knocked two of my teeth out, my side of my ribs are bleeding. Anybody is better than you. And people thought that about Trump, and they put which was true, but then they put Joe Biden, he ain't that much better. Well, at least he's a little better. No. You're supposed to always go for the best. You deserve greatness. You deserve the best. You don't deserve the lesser of two evils or anybody better than that guy. Throw something on the wall, hope it stick. That is not helping America grow. Well, we got these horrible Republicans over here, so we got to get this Democrat. I know he's a bigot, racist, pathological liar too, but not like that guy. That guy's dangerous. He's ignorant. Ignorant bigot, smart bigot. I'm more afraid of a smart bigot than the ignorant bigot. I don't want bigots running this country. So today I ran into a story. Let me pull it up. This is from Politics, CNN. Texas Republicans target Houston with wrath of bills seeking new voting restrictions. So instead of doing whatever you can to make it easier for people to vote, which neither party support, the Democratic Party is not doing whatever they can to expand voting, and the Republican Party is doing whatever they can to restrict voting. Stacey Abrams did all that work to try to win a horrible red state, a tough red state, and she was successful. And Joe Biden don't put Jamie Harris as DNC chair. What that Negro in there? He couldn't even win his freaking race. How he's gonna try to run the Democratic Party and teach a 50-state strategy of winning. The person you're supposed to have was Stacey Abrams. You dumb idiot. He's not trying to do anything about voting. You got those people who claim they're on your side, but they're not going all out trying to change voting registration and, making it easy for people to vote. They're not doing, they're not trying at all to do open contests. They don't want to open the elections. They want to keep it restricted to Democrats. And then there's a lot of people they can get on their side. They just don't want to be affiliated with a political party. But no, we rather force you into becoming a Democrat just to vote for one of our people. Dude, that's your biggest mistake. I shouldn't have to join your church to go visit. I don't want to be a member. I got my own church. I just want to visit some of my friends here in fellowship. That's why we need to get rid of open primaries. See, they have a way of blocking vote. The Democrats. One of the biggest blocking of votes is the open primary, not having open primaries, closed primaries. Moving the date so far back that you won't even really get to know the candidate before it'd be too late. I mean, you were supposed to register by a certain date and you didn't even know this person was running for president. That's why I support legislation that you should be able to register that same day. If you have to be forced to vote for somebody, but you shouldn't, in this country, you shouldn't have to register to be a part of, you shouldn't have to register to be a part of a political party. You're trying to force me to join your club. I don't want to join your club. There's somebody in your club that I support, but I don't want to join the club to support this dude. I want to continue to be me and support him. I don't want you counting on me for numbers, dollars, none of that. Robert, what you getting to? The story I'm going to talk about is how white supremacy is doing whatever they can to restrict votes. And then you got white supremacy who don't want to expand votes. Nobody's talking about ranked choice voting on both sides of the aisle. Nobody's talking about making the registration date the same day that you vote and days off to go vote, making it a national holiday, giving people the day off, paid day off, to make sure they have dates to go vote. Because in other countries, man, these people, they ain't going to work. They going to dip that thing in that purple dye and vote by paper ballots. We still using computers. We're not going back to paper ballots. Computers are always faulty and can make mistakes. I mean, there's plenty of time when I went to vote and I had to run my paper through 3 times because the first 2 times it didn't go through, or did it? Let's get to the story. Talk too much, Rob. Texas Republicans are targeting Houston's efforts to expand voting access during the 2020 election with a series of measures that would limit early voting. With a series of measures that would limit early voting. With a series of measures that will limit. We should have no limit when it comes to voting. You're so much of a coward, punks, and fearful of losing your election because we give people extra energy and time and casual ability to go out and vote. They want to limit it. Early voting. They want to make it harder to get and return absentee ballots. Limit and harder. Why? Because they're a bunch of cowards. They're losers. They figure that if we can make it hard for you to vote, then, and you guys are in the majority, then we can beat you. GOP lawmakers introduced 24 bills that would make it harder to vote in Texas ahead of Friday's filing deadline. Those bills would bar counties from sending absentee ballots, requested forms to people who did not ask for them. So they're going to demand that you ask for them instead of just give it to them. It's like Trump when we had an opportunity to make sure every household had a mask, and Trump limited. He didn't even send it to people because he feared what it'll do. A lot of people died as a result of that. And he should be held accountable for crimes against humanity, right along with Governor Cuomo, right along with Fauci, and a whole lot of people who were keeping protection and medication from the people. Claiming you're looking out for us. No, you ain't looking out for us. Looking out, all right. They want to bar counties from sending absentee ballots. Requesting. Why would you want to do that? Because you're a bunch of weak, spineless coward. Don't want to go out there and earn your vote. Same thing with Democrats, but these people are on purpose trying to buy it. Now, if absentee ballots worked in their favor, they wouldn't be doing this. Oh, they'd be moving it right along, trying to expand it. But it don't move in their favor, so they got to try to find some way to stop it because they know their seats are doomed. Majority of people in Texas are independents, and they can lean right or left or not at all. A lot of my ADOS in Texas, they be demanding support for their agenda in order to get a vote from them. Those bills will bar counties from sending absentee ballot request forms to people who did not ask for them. Limited counties' authorities to expand voting hours, required faster purges of voters' rolls, and make it easy to challenge signatures in absentee ballots and more. To purge voters off the roll and make it easy to challenge signatures in absentee ballot. Now, the thing the Democratic Party normally do is rolls get purged, but they never really took the time and effort to work to get people put back on the polls. The voter rolls. Then came Stacey Abrams with a little bit of cash from that bigot, pathological lying, racist little germaphobe, tiny dude, Bloomberg. But we're glad that the black lady piled up with a white supremacist to help Democrats win. Oh, yeah, we're proud of that. And don't get me wrong, she worked her butt off and she deserved that, she deserved that DNC chair. Shame on Joe Biden. We're going to do whatever we can to give her the Nobel Peace Prize. And Obama and Biden, all of them going to work their magic to try to take the Peace Prize from people like Trump, Jared Kushner, and all these people. All these people were nominated for Nobel Peace Prize. Not just Stacey Abrams. Julian Assange. If anybody should get it, it's Julian Assange because his what he's done is hugely important. What whistleblowers do. Now, don't get me wrong. Voting is important, and putting people back on rolls is important. But that ain't a worldwide peace thing. That deserves all kind of humanitarian wars, but that's not a worldwide peace thing. WikiLeaks and Julian Assange exposing crimes from power, that's a Nobel Peace Prize thing. So they want to limit the county's authority to expand voting. Greg Abbott and the Republican sponsors of two of those bills on Monday identified the boogeyman that inspired the legislative pushes. Harris County, the state's largest county and the home of Houston, Democrats have made major gains in recent elections in what was once a conservative-leaning area, helping the party narrow the GOP margin in statewide election and giving Republicans incentives to seek to limit votes there. So the Democratic Party have been working the field, talking to other people who normally vote right, or convincing people to vote against, I guess, their best interests. It's not all that best interest, but, we already know the Republican parties don't have, especially Hispanics, Latinos, but they definitely ain't got blacks in mind. And we also know most Democrats don't either. But they cannot survive without votes, so they'll do whatever they can to expand it. And if they can lean in and embrace certain cultures, they know they believe they have a right to ask for your vote. Shame part is asking for it and have not done anything to earn it. Democrats have made major gains in recent election in what was once a conservative-leaning area, helping the party narrow the GOP margins in statewide election and giving Republicans incentives to seek limited votes there. In a news conference in Houston, Abbott State Representative Briscoe Cain, well, that sounds like, and State Senator Paul Betancourt criticized Harris County 2020 moves to try to expand the access to the ballot box. Why are you criticizing? Expanding access to the ballot box is the American way. They criticize it because it was in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic. Well, then make it easy for people to vote even in a pandemic. The county kept early voting locations open for 24 hours and open drives through polling places. What's wrong with that? It should be open for 24 hours. County officials also sought to send mass mail-in ballots and applications, but were blocked from doing so by the Texas Supreme Court. Why? Because they're a bunch of bigot racists and they want to continue to do whatever they can to keep white power and white and majority power. Can't have those Mexicans, those Latinos, and those black people. Can't have them taking over the Supreme Court in Texas or taking over the State House. We can't have that. This is our house. You built it, but it's our house. We must pass laws to prevent election officials from jeopardizing the election process, Abbott said after detailing Harris County handling of the 2020 election. The bills are part of a larger push across Republican-controlled state house, including Georgia and Arizona, to implement new laws to suppress votes following former President Donald Trump's lies that voter fraud was to blame for his loss last year to Joe Biden. Abbott and Republicans have offered no evidence of widespread fraud in Texas, so why are you trying to have a dumb reason to close it, polls, or have more restriction? The only example about Abbott cited Monday was a 2014 case in which a man, not a bunch of men, not a bunch of women, not a group of people, but a man was charged with offering cocaine and cash for votes in the school board race in Donna, Texas. Now, how many of you heard Donna, Texas? All right, so we know the ratio of black to white probably is 1 out of 50. And I bet you they're probably saying the black guy, we had this black guy, Democrat. You don't know if he's a Democrat or not? Well, but most black people are. You don't know that? It's a lot of black people that's not even affiliated with parties. I'd be one of them. There's one thing all of us can and should agree upon, and that is we must have trust and confidence in our elections, Abbott said. One way to do that is to make sure that we reduce the potential for voter fraud in our elections. And how do you do that? Go back to paper ballots, do ranked choice voting, make election day a holiday. I don't care if it's the primary. I don't care if it's the general election. The day you vote, you should have the ability to get paid to have that day off to go vote. And you should have ballot initiatives in every state. It's high time that we stop letting Congress making decisions for us, and we, the people, make the decision for us. And whatever the majority, that's the way we go, if it don't violate somebody's human rights. He made no mention of Republicans' role in undermining that trust by falsely claiming that the result is several swing states were tainted and attempt to overturn them in courts in Congress. Matt Engel, a Democratic strategy who founded the Lone Star Project, a political action committee that backs Democrats, said Republicans are targeting Harrison County because of Democrats' rising vote share. And that is true. Along with Tarrant County, home of Fort Worth, the two kind of linchpin counties. When Democrats get up to about 55% consistently, and they're getting there, consistently in Harris County, and when we carry Tarrant County, it'll be hard for Republicans to make that up in rural counties. And folks, that's the reason why they're doing that. They can't lock down the big major counties, whether it's the county for Dallas, whether it's the county for Houston, whether it's the counties for El Paso, some of the biggest cities in the state of Texas. The numbers are so huge, full of blacks and Latinos. You got a lot of immigrant blacks that have moved down there. It's huge. And they want to stop that because they know they can't win. Those counties lean Democrat. Republicans are not going to be able to take Texas anymore. And that's what they're fearful of. That's why they're doing all this crazy stuff. When Democrats get about 55% consistently in Harrison County, and when we can carry Tarrant County, it'll be hard for Republicans to make that up in rural counties, Engel said. Legislation moved to GOP lawmakers come after Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton led a lawsuit by Republicans, state attorney general from 17 states to disenfranchise voters of Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin by overturning their results based on unfounded claims of fraud. Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick in November offered $1 million reward for evidence of voter fraud in Texas, but have yet to pay anybody. So prove it, dude. Is $1 million stat. If you can prove it, is yours. They haven't found anybody to do it yet, not even for $1 million. Paxton team looking for voter fraud in 2020 election found just 16 examples of false addresses on registration forms in Harris County after more than 22,000 hours of staff time investigating. So imagine this. You spend all that money to keep people in the building. They put in 22,000 staff hours and you only found 16. And they could be college students who have another address in New York because they staying on a dorm, but their residence is in Darrow, Louisiana. All that energy spent, 22,000 hours, and only found 16 examples. Well, at least we found some example of voter fraud. It wasn't voter fraud. It's address issues. It's part of the big lie, Lena Hidalgo, who, as Harris County judge and the county chief executive, said Monday on CNN, is part of intimidation, the confusion, the antics that the Republican Party has engaged in for so many generations that culminated in President Trump asking people to overturn the election. What they're doing is filing bills that are essentially a poll tax that weaponize the election system against our own voters. Let me repeat that again. See, folks, understand this. A bigoted number one way to change things is by becoming a legislator. And the more get into Capitol Hill, White House, the better. If White want to keep his power, that's what they do. Obviously, these Republicans are hoping their work is going to disenfranchise mostly Democrats, but the truth of the matter is it's going to disenfranchise both parties. And what they're proposing is absolutely tragic and reminiscent of the worst of what we've seen in Texas and across the South since Reconstruction. Meanwhile, Kane, the Texas House Republican, who was alongside about Monday, claimed that the only form of voter fraud is illegal vote being casted. Well, it depends on what you call illegal. You know, the only form of voter suppression is when an illegitimate voter or ineligible voter casts a ballot. Dude, if that's actually true, then you need to handle it. There's $1 million reward. If you can prove that illegitimate and ineligible people are voting, man, don't get me wrong. You got a lot of people in Texas, you know, and you got a lot of people from, especially the Mexican community, those who coming from south of the border. They take whatever information they can. They buy fake identities. They get fake driver's license made, all so they can kind of miss going through the process of becoming a citizen. Just buy somebody else's personal information, I automatically become a citizen, and I can vote too. So you do have cases like that. You have cases of people who are students, but they love their state so much they didn't vote at the college and use the address at the college for voting registration. They use their own home and they go back home to vote for that person. They're actually doing is they're silencing the voice of American citizens. Someone that is eligible to vote is wrong and we should stop it. Bittencourt said he was pushing for uniformity among counties. Early voting hours, which he said could be viewed as anything but positive because everyone can view those hours. Well, give people a day off and make that day 24 hours before we close the polling stations, not 9 o'clock. Polls open at 12 on a certain date and they close at 12 on a certain date. Abbott on Friday declared that election security would be an emergency item on the Texas legislative agenda for its 2021 session. Election fraud is unacceptable, and that's exactly why I made it an emergency item in this session, he said Monday. Our object is very simple, and that is to ensure that every eligible voter gets to vote. It is also to ensure that only eligible voters are the ones that count at the ballot box. You got to watch that language. Sure, I love you. Come here, baby, I love you. Soon as you go to work, old Chuck coming in the house. Chuck doing at your house, man. Over and over, Abbott and the GOP lawmakers pointed to Harris County efforts to expand voting access in 2020 as an example of what they're seeking to prohibit. Why are you trying to prohibit the expansion of voting? Voting is supposed to be the bedrock of America. The easier, the better. Oh, you want to make it hard because it helps your team win. Actually, if you leave it alone, your team may win. Leave the freaking laws alone. Other Republican legislators have also cited Harris County, including State Representative Jared Patterson, who said the irregularities in the Harris County polling hours are operation and opportunity for voting fraud when no one is looking, motivated a bill he introduced that would prohibit counties from allowing early voting after 9 p.m. Once again, there should be a date where you can go vote, and that should be 24. The polling station should be open 24 hours until the election is over with. And the polling station should not officially close till 12 o'clock. You shouldn't be finding out who the winner is till the following morning. You shouldn't even be finding out who the projected winner is until the following morning. Guys, these people, they know that the biggest state in the South is about to catch a beat down because Democrats are going to start winning huge in those areas. They're going to start losing. See, like we mentioned earlier today, the few biggest counties, cities in Texas are urban multi-centers. The rest of it is rural. They're afraid now because the tables have turned. And it's easier now for them to vote. I say it should be more easy, but we'll get to that in a moment. Bittencourt called for 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. voting hours everywhere. 12 freaking hours, dude? Just 7? 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Most people are working during that time. Most people are working. Most people don't get home because of traffic. And let me tell you something, some people drive a long way in Texas. It ain't like New York where you can catch a train, or New York where everything's so close you can get a job probably about 5 miles from your house, 5-mile walk. Or a bike run. Or bike or run. He wants 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Only give them people 12 hours to vote. No. Fool, it should be 24 hours. 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. voting hours everywhere, and said keeping the same hours everywhere helps rural Texans feel like they have the same opportunity as urban Texans, despite the reality that urban voters often face long lines that do not exist in rural areas. So, if you open the polls and keep it open 24 hours a day, they can get their voting done, and people in the urban area, they can get their voting done even more. And it's even better because the rural people don't have a long way to travel unless they're traveling into the city to work. They can get their stuff done early. But in the urban areas, people work. People are told to work extra. So you open the polls to 24 hours a day during that particular time. Proposals such as Bittencourt Senate Bill 7, which you should wipe your behind with, which would bar public officials from sending absentee ballots request form and would require identification in return mail inbox, and Kane's House Bill 6, which similarity bans the mailing of absentee ballots request forms, and also would block county elections officials from altering election procedures with the approval of the Texas Secretary of State. Largely seek to bar local elections officials from making their own decision about administering an election. A lot of them are so petty, technical, but what they really do is increase the authority of the Secretary of State of Texas to direct the counties to do specific things, Engels said. So here's my take on this whole thing. In the United States, you should do everything you can to make it easier. Only weak cowards fear that they're going to lose and understand the only way they can win is we got to lock this door and put a chain on it if we're going to survive. This is Walking Dead. The zombies going to come get us. We got to lock the door and put chains on it, hoping they don't smell us, hoping they don't hear us. Because a lot of zombies out there and they trying to eat. I don't want them to eat us, so we got to stay out of sight and out of mind. And we got to restrict the doorways and the windowways to keep them people from coming in. And that's what this voting thing is in Texas. They're trying to change the laws because they almost lost Houston. And right now, the favorite son of Texas right now is Crazy Hands. Can't think of his name right now, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Cruz his popularity is low. He could lose his race. These weak, coward politicians, these weak, feckless, spineless, coward politicians are trying to take the weasel way out to try to keep their job by passing laws to suppress the vote. Weak, coward, and effectless. The Democratic Party is starting to gain some traction in the biggest major cities in Texas, and that is killing. It is no match. Small towns are no match for those three places. It's not like one or two. Like in New York, we got New York City, and then we got Buffalo, maybe Syracuse. But most of New York is rural, mountainous area. So to make it fair, keep every poll in the rural town and in the major towns 24 hours a day. If grandma is disabled, she can't get out, let her get an absentee ballot and let her have the ability to mail it. But you're scared of that because you want grandma to stay home. You want people to go to work between 7 and 7. Ain't nobody voting. By the time you get off work, by the time you get to the voting station and get in line, it'll close if you do that. And they know this. So you do it 24 hours. You got plenty of people willing to be in the polling station. You got plenty of people that don't mind being in the polling station for 24 hours. We should have ranked choice voting. We should go back to paper ballots, get rid of those computers. Go to hand count, not scanning. Ballot initiatives, let the public decide on major issues. Bypassing these punk politicians who never make the right decision. We should be doing whatever we can to make it easy for people to vote. We should do everything we can. So saying all that, you guys got to get out there. These people will do this stuff slick, sly. You need to let them know the jig is up. And you need to get out there, not just Democrats. Every Democratic politician from the local level to the federal level should be down there making some noise. Everybody live in Houston, Dallas, you name it. You need to be down there making some noise. You need to let them know, we know what you're doing. Stop making an excuse. There's better ways to do this. We don't have it on lock, but you know it's good to have the polling station open 24 hours until 12 o'clock the day of the election. We should make it a law where people can have a paid day off for voting. But see, you don't want this because you know these things will cause you to get whooped. You need people to be at work. You need people to be rushing to the polling station to get in line, and that line all the way down the street 13 blocks. You know what you're doing, you numbnut punk politicians, and it's not going to happen. But see, I'm not in Dallas. I'm not in Texas. That's up to you. You, the people of Texas, have to go down there to your politician. You have to call them. You have to blast them out on Twitter and Facebook. If you need to go to the local meeting that they have or whatever, town hall or whatever, you need to get in the face. You need to be blowing up their phone to the point where it's ringing every freaking second and they don't get no rest. You got to do that. More importantly, you need to be at that Capitol building. You don't need to be breaching the security, but you can be out there protesting. You can be out there doing sit-ins and shut-ins. You can be out there causing making it hard for them to do business. And you should be able to get a sign shaming them. Put his face up there and call them a bigot, a racist, a white supremacist. Do whatever you can. Un-American, they love to think they're patriots and they're American. Patriots and American don't restrict the voting. Patriots will make it easy for you to vote if you're a registered voter. Now I am with them. You should be registered as a voter. I didn't say registered as in a party. You should be a registered voter. And you should be using your identity and nobody else's. Now, that does happen, not in Texas, but all over the United States. Why? Because I teach on identity theft. These things are happening, and I got plenty of cases of people just coming to this country and getting a Social Security card made and a driver's license made at the freaking flea market in Texas. That is a problem. Somebody using your identity to go vote. And when you go vote, you go to jail because you voted twice. And they'll blame it on you instead of the person who stole your identity, because they don't know who is the person who stole my identity. So there's no excuse to restrict it, you racist bigot, un-American, unpatriotic fools. There's no reason to restrict it. There's no reason to stop the mail-in ballots. There's no reason for you to restrict the time to go vote. You think you're slick. We know the deal. You want to change the time because you know most people work. You want to keep workers from getting out there and vote. No, you need to. What you need to do is put that trash law down and put up a new law saying that this is a national holiday. Election day is, whether it's the primaries or the general, is a holiday in Texas, a paid holiday. So not only can you take your time to go vote, you won't miss no money for the day. But you're too much a punk to do that. Oh yeah, we should make the voting booths open 24 hours a day, starting from the early voting date till 12 o'clock a.m. on the day of the election. No early calling in to see who won. You should know to the first thing in the morning. Put all y'all on your toes. All y'all in the bed with your eyes like this because you can't sleep. There should be ranked choice voting. We need to dismantle these two-party power and open up doors for people to get voted in based on their character, not based on their affiliation. There's no reason you can sit there and say, well, that don't work. We can't change the system. Third parties is hard and the fourth party is hard. We might as well just give it up. There's no hope for that. We're going to have to stick with the two. That's the lie they fed y'all. If you push ranked choice voting, anybody in any party, it could be the fraud party or the green dye, red, white, and blue patriot till we poop party, whatever. It's no excuse. Ranked choice voting. All you have to do is vote for it. And you shouldn't allow these politicians in the state or in the House and Senate, U.S. House and Senate. No, that should be your choice. That should be your choice on a ballot initiative. And it has been working in other states. They have ranked choice voting. A lot of things that the public are demanding, they should be able to vote it in through ranked choice voting. And anybody who try to block that need to be stripped of their powers. So I just wanted to come with this story to make sure that you stay vigilant no matter where you are. And see, I'm from the Deep South. I'm from Florida. These people are very crafty. They pass laws every day. You don't have no clue. That's why you need to be watching C-SPAN in your spare time. You need to be reading your paper. You need to be going to your county meeting, your state meeting, whatever. You need to be going. You need to be a part of your community board. You need to be involved. When you find a person who has a platform that you can support and believe in, you go support them. I don't give a crap what affiliation they are. That's your guy. Push him to the moon. Whether you got a chance in hell or not. You stop letting them use that lame excuse to try to pin you in to voting for somebody that ain't going to do nothing for you. I'd rather vote for somebody who have a huge desire and urge to do something for me and give them a chance to win. versus voting for somebody who ain't gonna do nothing, But we just voting them in because we're scared of the other guy who ain't doing nothing. So this is Rob Brown with the Rob Report. Stay vigilant, stay strong. I adjure everybody in Texas, you guys gotta, I won't tell you get no pitchfork, but you need to bring the noise. You need to be down there at your local mayor's office. You need to be down there at every political meeting in your area. You need to be there at the Capitol building. Don't go in there storming it and causing an insurrection, but you can cause a headache and get all in their grill when they walk out of there. Because if you don't do nothing, they're going to slip around and do this thing. You got to make them feel political pain. You got to blow their phone up, blow their Twitter up. If you have to make crazy memes to make them look stupid, develop that. Shame them. That's what you need to do. Bring shame. It's a doggone shame that you're still trying to make excuses to suppress the vote. Why? Because you scared the Democrats. Democrats get those 3 counters, boy. We're goosed. We're done. I don't know what I'm gonna do, Ethel. Get a mop. Go work at McDonald's like the king. I'm coming to America. I'm Rob Brown with the Bobby Brown Show on the GO. I love you guys. I'll holler at you later. I'll let you know. Like, subscribe, share. Make sure you subscribe. Put this on other social medias. Make sure you subscribe every week on Sundays before I come on at night for the live show. Make sure you subscribe because those fools do that. Make sure you hit the notification bell and hit always. I don't ask for money. Most of these videos are not monetized. YouTube don't pay that well unless you some big time dude. You know, the subscribers and the likes and the viewers, live viewers, bring in the money. I don't want to depend on that. I just do what I do and trust a higher source to cause this thing to grow. It happened before. Most important thing I want you to do, it's more important than money, is make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, and make sure you share. And make sure the notification bell is on always. Robert Bob TV with the Bobby Brown Show. I'll let you later. Peace.